All Blacks in England, folks, and that was quite some test. That is a proper test of this All Black side under Scott Robertson. They were down 17 points to 13, 30-year Eden Park record on the line. But they cleared the bench, they brought Beauden Barrett on, and they managed to pull away from England for a 7-point win in the end. 2 really hard-fought tests. England were right in both of them. We will go through some key events and some stats, but Beauden Barrett at the end of the game said what he did was not special. If that wasn't special, I don't know what it is, man. I feel like we were losing that game until he comes on. Intense start from both sides, and both sides not really playing by the established playbook, like running the ball out their own 22s. Like Reece caught Freddie Stewart, who was a late call-up to the 23 with Furbank being injured. They caught him in his own 22. England managed to clear it, but Perofeta running out of his own 22 as well. Pretty helter-skelter, crazy start. Marcus Smith even goes for a drop goal. Misses it, but very, very high-intensity start. AB's won the first scrum penalty, which is something that had been much talked about in the media in the build-up to this one. And then later on, England were free kicked at line-out time, so the All Blacks had a wee tap and go. And that led to the first scoring of the game. Mark Tele'a scores 2 tries in this game, although I believe his work under the high ball will also come under a bit of scrutiny. But certainly the guy knows how to score a try. All Blacks shifting it from right to left. Tele'a snipes on the blind side as Maro Tuja is trying to make a big breakdown push. He goes over and he scores with the ball kind of above his head, reaching back above his head to make sure he gets the ball grounded. 7 points to 0. Good conversion from McKenzie. Good start from the All Blacks. But England hit more or less straight back and really showed that they were quite happy to leave the All Blacks camped in their own half. And I feel like for the amount of territory England had in this middle period of the first half, they'll be really disappointed they weren't able to come away with more points, because they had the All Blacks kind of on the ropes, but unable to really land that knockout blow. The All Blacks' clearance from the restart was pretty average, and England were able to attack down the left wing. Freeman had a big carry, and then Marcus Smith with some sweet cross kicks in this game. His kick to Feyi-Waboso kind of lands between Tele'a and DMAC. DMAC doesn't have much of a chance with the line that Feyi-Waboso ends up running. So 7 points apiece. Immediate strike back from England. Really cracking stuff from Steve Borthwick's boys. And then just as the All Blacks looked to have hit back to the hitback, they kind of blew it. Marcus Smith, if not for Beauden Barrett, was maybe looking like man of the match, because the All Blacks blew what seemed like a sure thing try. How did the All Blacks not score this one? I mean, DMAC beats Ben Earl. That's 2 weeks in a row where Ben Earl has been beaten in a tackle that he'd usually make. Gets the ball to Tele'a. Tele'a and Perofeta kind of play this little 1-2. Maybe the ball needs to go inside, but they go back outside. And with the final pass, Smith's able to get in the way. So the All Blacks somehow managed to not score from what seemed like a sure thing try. Ben Earl, you can see his face in the background. He's resigned to the fact that the All Blacks are about to score. But no, they managed to hold off. The All Blacks did get 3 points not long later when England conceded a penalty. But yeah, for that effort, the All Blacks would have liked to have come away with more, to be fair. And then the English restarted quickly, kind of catching the All Blacks guys unawares, because England seemed pretty happy to let the All Blacks have lineouts, because the All Blacks lineout still looks pretty scrappy. It finishes this game like 76%, which is not fantastic. The All Blacks lineout continues to be an area of weakness, and as one of the viewers said on the live stream, Rassie Erasmus will be taking some big old notes about the All Blacks lineout, because they have some good locks and some good lineout poachers. But that's for the Rugby Championship down the ways. For now, for England and New Zealand, the All Blacks lineout still continue to struggle. The game got a bit scrappy, to be honest. I mean, there's been no rain in Auckland all day. It's been beautiful, but it was clearly quite slippery underfoot. It gets a bit dewy in the evenings here in NZ. You had players slipping over in left, right and centre. You had some poor exit kicks. You had a bunch of knock-ons. You had some scrum resets. So overall, it was pretty scrappy, but it was largely being played in the All Blacks half. The All Blacks could not win the territorial battle against this England side. It was taking kind of key moments to get the All Blacks out of dodge. One of them was when Finlay Christie caught Ben Earl at the back of the scrum, right as the English scrum ball was coming out. Christie caught him and the All Blacks were able to win a penalty. So they were kind of finally able to get themselves an exit, and that led to a bit of handbags. I feel like England knew that they would due some points for how much time they'd been in the All Blacks half. So the fact that they got caught in that one was pretty frustrating for them. And then New Zealand went down the other end. Very kind of kickable penalty they managed to win, but they didn't opt for it. And when I say very kickable, like not an easy one, but kickable, they opt for touch. And then that lineout that I was mentioning somehow manages to not even jump. And Itojo is just able to, thank you very much, I'll take that off your hands if you don't want it. So both sides kind of left some chances out there with that kind of scrappy into the half. England did concede another penalty at the breakdown. A few minutes before halftime, the All Blacks took the 3 this time. D-Mac still had a full 10 seconds left on the clock, so 13 points to 7 is looking solid enough. But one moment of absolute magic from England before full time of the first half, that's called halftime, with Freeman. And it was maybe the first time in the game I think we'd seen the game go 10 phases, because the errors had been there for both sides, be it penalties or knock-ons or whatnot, but they went, I think, 11 or 12 phases, more English territory. This time Codie Taylor's the one who gives away the advantage, and Marcus Smith with another one of these cross kicks, and Freeman just plucks the ball out of the air. Thing of absolute beauty, gorgeous try. Tele'a caught pretty flat-footed, but what a take from Freeman. That one's more about Freeman than it is about Tele'a, maybe. 14-13, great conversion from Smith. England take a 1-point lead into the sheds at halftime. And they've been good value for it, man. 62% territory. Not many sides come into Eden Park and just keep the All Blacks camped in their own half. 55% possession. The All Blacks have had double the knock-ons, 6-3. And the English line-out, 6 from 6. The All Blacks is 6 from 9, which is not as good. The one area where England won't be happy with the penalties they conceded, it was 6-1 at halftime. So discipline kind of letting them down a wee bit. But then the All Blacks discipline starts poor in the second half. Jordie Barrett, who's vice-captain of this side, takes out Marcus Smith in the air in a pretty soft and dumb penalty. Then New Zealand are offside not long later. But then when England kind of got a chance to go for that jugular, they got the All Blacks on the ropes. You need to land that knockout punch. Jamie George knocks on. So a real kind of let-off for the All Blacks. The All Blacks looked at one point to have won a penalty to finally exit their own half. That was on 42 minutes. Or was it 48? It was late into the 40s, I think. More time spent in their own half. But there was a kind of reversed penalty, which was one I think the TMO might have come in. I have to have the volume really low when I'm live streaming, but someone correct me if I'm wrong what happened with that one. But they reversed the penalty. England decided that they needed to get points from all this pressure they'd had. So 17 points to 13. And then unfortunately for England, Theo Dan, who's only just come on, goes off with an HIA not long later. And the All Blacks have Christie also go off. He takes the big knock. So I feel like key moments in this game is Ratsima comes on. And he looked pretty sharp for a guy in his first test. And Beauden Barrett comes on. And then the All Blacks actually start to get some territory. Like Mark Tele'a has a nice kind of half break, which was the first real chance of the second half. And then D-Mac puts Bodie into some space on 61 minutes. This one directly leads to a try. Remember, Bodie's coming in at first receiver for this one. But D-Mac's the one who puts him into some space. He's still got some gas. And Freddie Stewart doesn't turn that well. I'm not sure if Furbank is able to stop this move any better than Stewart is, but Stewart is not known to be a fullback who's able to turn with any kind of particular pace, and he also slips. So there's some proper space. Bodie's able to send Tele'a over in the corner. So 18-17, the All Blacks are now in the lead, and they will extend it further. Bodie even had some incredible moment, like as good as the Freeman try was, and the Bodie one doesn't lead to anything in terms of points, but the dude literally kicks it over the top at one point, chases through, before the ball can land, kicks it on the volley, up again, tries to chase it. He's up against Dan Cole, the reserve tight head prop, and he's bloody close to gathering it. He gets a hand to it. It would have been incredible if anything had come of that. It's incredible the fact that nothing came of it, but Beauden Barrett was just playing with absolute confidence and just like dragging his team by the scruff of the neck to get out of their own half and to play some attacking rugby. More New Zealand pressure ended in points on 68 minutes, made it 21-17, which is starting to look a little bit more comfortable because we're beyond kicking range now. England need to get 2 kicks or a score or a try. And then the All Blacks had a big scrum on 72 minutes. Fletcher and Newell looked real strong for that one. And then Itoje conceding a penalty at line-out time means another shot at goal. And shaves the upright, if I'm not mistaken, but 24-17, that's the final scoring of the game. Now, with that momentum, it looked like England were pretty much dead and buried. They had the game by the scruff of the neck, but had seemingly kind of had it taken away from them. But they still finished strong. Slight home, big carries down the left wing. He beat Sevu Reece for pace, which ain't that easy to do. They had advantage. They went for touch. They had a maul. Then New Zealand's exit when they turned it over from Bodie just went to Marcus Smith, who's come back on because Stewart's gone off with an HIA. Smith's playing fullback. Quick line out. They go again. They get advantage. They go touch again. They maul it again. The backs get in there. And it looks to be held up, but the TMO pings Lawrence for a bit of obstruction anyway. So England had the All Blacks once again on the ropes at the end, but unable to kind of land that knockout blow. They still scored 2 really nice tries. Cross kicks from Marcus Smith. But yeah, ultimately considered a few too many penalties. Possession finishes 51-49 to England, but territory 63-37. New Zealand will be really unhappy with the way that finished. But then, as I said, Bodie comes on, makes 10 kicks, and helps to get his team playing down the road into the field. Knock-ons is 10-5. The All Blacks having 10. So they certainly coughed up too much ball. The line-out was at 76%, like I mentioned, which is way too low. But they still have some decent attacking numbers. 6 clean breaks to 4. 28 defenders beaten to 16. So England won't be happy with their tackle completion rate, which was a bit low. New Zealand kicked it more. England conceded more penalties. But yeah, they outran New Zealand 415 metres to 395. Bodie, I think, is the difference maker, but his brother, Codie, makes 13 from 13 tackles. Savea, interestingly, is New Zealand's seemingly main line-out option, which is a little bit concerning. Because, yeah, Itoje was just imperious in the air. 8 line-outs, 1 from him. Tele'a, 89 metres, beats 4 defenders, but as I said, 2 tries kind of scored on his wing, which would be a bit concerning. Waboso had 4 defenders beaten, 64 metres, and a try of his own. But yeah, interesting game. Really good series between these two sides. Now we see New Zealand head off to San Diego to play Fiji in their next one, which I'm sure will be a much changed one. But 2 from 2 for Razor thus far. But certainly he has been put under a heap of pressure by this English side. You guys let us know your thoughts on the game. Buy us a beer, buy us a coffee, stress reliever down in the description if you can. I had the old boy around for the live stream in this one. He's a bit crook, so unable to drink alcohol, but he brought me around a few beers, so if not, I am fairly well supplied with beers for now. But anyway, I'm off to watch the Aussies take on the Welsh. You guys stay